And welcome to a special holiday edition of the Remedial Film Class Podcast. I'm your host, Dan.
And I'm Travis.
And I'm George.
And this year, to give George a little bonus holiday cheer,
Bonus.
Travis and I have, well, actually just me. I have happily led George to Silent Night, Deadly Night. Now, you can't make a George drink, but you can lead him to a shitty movie. George, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Real good.
Travis, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
All
Feel
right.
good?
Did I
Feeling
give
good,
you,
Lewis?
Did I give you enough warning that this actually isn't a good movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's an 80s mock slasher film, so yeah.
I mean,
Kinda.
it's kind of serious. I don't know. Punish. So, George, there's a lot of reasons I wanted you to watch this movie. But before I tell you all those reasons, I just got to ask you, how you feeling, man?
Do you have notes?
I have some notes.
Okay,
but
because I enjoy your notes.
Let's
They
hear
make
your
me
notes.
happy.
Let's hear your notes.
I don't have. Well, I have a little bit. All right. So my first note is 7 o'clock. Time to get shit faced. That was like me in college. 7 o'clock. Time to get shit faced.
Store's closed.
We're done. Time to get shit faced. Oh man, that was like, I lit up when that happened. I was just like, yo, I like this guy. Unfortunately, he's gonna die, but I like him. Okay, so I thought there was one interesting thing maybe that I could pull from this movie, which was the development of the killer, right? Billy was his name, right? Billy? Okay, so you remember back with Tommy Jason.
Tommy Jason.
And I said it seemed as though Tommy was being primed, and he was, well, not being primed, but he was primed. Like, he was prone to this kind of, masked, scary man type stuff.
Right.
And that paired with his PTSD could, conceivably, it would be a good storyline where he could snap and become Jason.
Right.
Right? They kind of did that here.
Mm-hmm.
Only it wasn't Jason. It was Santa Claus.
It was Nicholas. His name should have been Nicholas. That was
So-
the first thing I was like, oh, maybe it should have been Nicholas.
So
Nicky.
actually,
Nicky.
the backstory of the child and the events and how the witnessing the sexual assault, kind of all of that came to a head at once, and he was dressed as Santa Claus somehow by some stroke of fate, and boom. That was pretty cool, except he was Santa Claus. Right? In another context, that would have been, it could have been a really cool way to, continue a killer or something. Like, that's what I kind of pictured for Tommy Jason. But yeah, and also, Dan, I remember you told me to remember the buck on the wall in one of the Jason movies, and you said you'd bring it back.
It was the remake, wasn't it? The
Yes,
remake did
sir.
that.
Yep.
Okay, it was a remake. Yeah, well, you told me to remember that because it's significant here, and
It was.
it certainly was.
It wasn't a singing moose.
That would have
But-
been amazing.
That would have been great.
Yeah, so that's it for my notes. That's all I had.
That's what you need is for Santa Claus to impale somebody on Billy the Big Mouth Bass. Yeah.
Easy for you to say.
It's really easy. I mean, that George, you're putting in the work, man. Now, I made you watch a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to understand something, though. I've seen so many bad slashers of a quality much less than this one that when I watch the first one, I watch it as a good slasher. Like, I've seen things, man. So
Yeah.
you don't know how far the bottom is. I got to warn you. Like, this is a pretty
true.
watchable slasher movie with
Rock bottom
a plot
in
you can
horror films.
follow, characters you can recognize, actors who pop up on their stuff, and, violence and a cool catchphrase. Like, really, they get much worse. So I'm glad you
Okay.
survived, but just be aware that this is actually kind of a good one, and think about your Jason movies again as maybe part 8 ain't so bad.
Yeah,
That's what I was
kind of.
thinking.
Yeah.
The only reason I even accepted some of these Friday 13th movies is because it was Jason. Like, if it was done with a different character, I probably would have turned it off. Hence this movie.
Yeah.
Did you notice they were drinking J&B Irish whiskey? Or Scotch whiskey. J&B
Yeah,
Scotch whiskey
Scotch witch.
in the room. That is like the product placement king of Italian cinema. So it gives my Giallo heart a nice warmth because it's in everything. That company just put their stuff in every Italian movie. And so it cracked me up that it showed up here because this is kind of, this is grimy enough to be like a low rent,
It's
genre film from, Diodato or somebody like that.
That's why I kept saying to myself, I'm like, Dan likes this because it's trying so hard
It tries
to
so
be an
hard.
Italian horror movie.
It
But it's
tries.
just-
It really wants to be something it's not quite, but it has
when
ambition.
it grows up, it wants to be a good horror movie. But it just never happened for me. And I think for me, it happened the way I felt is because I have all those movies in my head from back then that I wanted it to be better because I had never seen this. So this was my first time watching it as well. And I kept watching it. I'm like, okay, this is a Rob Zombie type movie where I'm getting a full backstory of this guy and he's going to snap eventually. And I'm just sitting there thinking, man, it's just nothing in this movie is saving it for me. Like I sent Dan a text. I'll read it to you. It said, dude, this movie was absolutely terrible. Not even Linnea Quigley's boobs on or a shelf display of vintage Star Wars toys could make it worth it. The $4.85 I've wasted.
Oh, man.
And Dan goes, save it for the pod.
I didn't want to hear anything else.
I
It's
know.
too good. It's just too good.
I wanted to like it, and I was just like, first of all, my problem with the beginning, they already had me on a bad foot because I'm like, the Santa Claus character was not scary enough. He was just like an annoyed guy.
Yeah.
And they never explain why he's on this spree. And it's just so outlandish, his behavior. And I'm like, okay, he just wants to steal some money. No, I'm gonna commit mass murder.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't explained. Now, if they would have maybe shown him escape from an asylum or something, he didn't look disheveled. He looked like he just came from the mall.
Yeah.
So
And the kids sent him over the edge.
if I understand you correctly, Travis, in a movie that is like 70% backstory, you think it needed just a little more backstory?
Just a little more backstory, yeah.
It needed more explanation of why this guy's doing this.
There was a lot of random things in this
my
movie.
God. And then what's funny is there's nothing but rape in this movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's a lot of
And
it.
I'm like, oh my God, like we're not watching was it Revenge of the Nerds because we had discussed a scene in that movie, and I'm like watching this movie. I'm like, okay, he's watching his mom get raped, and the nudity. Yeah, there's great nudity in this movie, but none of it is. Ugh. Like okay, one's a naked nun, one is his mom being raped, and then the other one was a woman being raped at a work party. Like
and a girl getting impaled on a buck.
yeah, like that was the only justifiable sex scene was the Quigley scene. And I was like, oh, yeah, I remember her being really a big scream queen back then. And this looked like an earlier version of her, like before she became really big. So I was curious.
Yeah, so you mentioned, Travis, okay, so like the Santa Claus in the beginning, the first Santa Claus killer, was like really random. We don't know why he's killing. Well, he killed the store owner kind of because the store owner was, had a gun on him. So that made sense. But then just like randomly flagging down a car and killing the people inside it for no reason, kind of random, right? But all of Billy's victims were random too.
Yeah.
Like the people that he worked with, okay, because they were, they were in the same. They were in the same place with them. They had a little bit of backstory with the coworkers, but he just shows up at the door at the next place, which was, I forget her name, or
the gratuitous nudity scene. Yeah.
Yeah, with the the
Linnea
buck
Quigley.
kill. Yeah,
the buck kill.
But he just shows up at that front door and, and assumes that everyone inside is naughty
Mm-hmm.
and kills them. And they have no backstory either.
True.
And he does that
But
out
the
of nowhere.
randomness is what makes it scary. It should make it scary. Like just
Wow.
that, on Christmas Eve, you're getting, I think, like a setup of maybe carolers going from house to house, and then carolers have just left that house, and then she answers the door and it's him. That way, it just shows that randomness and scariness of someone just coming to your door, and you expect it on Christmas Eve. You expect people to come to your house and knock on the door, and not anymore.
Like
but
carolers.
carolers,
Not
yeah, they're
this
going to
year.
knock. Not this year. Yeah, not this year. But again, like little things would fix it for me. Like the Santa Claus at the side of the road. If he had killed the store owner and put him in his trunk, then he's on the side of the road. Billy and his family stop to help him. The dad goes to the trunk to get the tire iron, sees the body. Then the Santa guy
Then
kills
he
them
has
both.
to kill him.
He has to kill them. So then it's explainable. It's not random, and then it explains the character more. To me, and that's like a 2-minute fix.
Right.
And same with the randomness of
But he
him
had-
going to their house.
But also he had to rape the mom, though, because...
Well, that's fine. He could have still done that.
Oh, okay.
I mean, she could have been in the car when he was helping. She's watching it almost like a movie in the back. Like, tell me,
there's-
one of the scariest videos you can see is when a cop pulls somebody over and they have a big struggle, and then they pull a gun out and they shoot him on the side of the road. It's like you're almost watching this whole thing. That could have been the mom watching it happen to her husband, and then
Yeah.
he goes to her and he does what he does. That
yeah,
way,
but then, but still, the rape would be kind of unexplained too. It would just
Well,
be
yeah.
like, well, I killed this guy. I might as well rape his wife, because that's how
True.
that's how people think.
Yeah, that's how they think.
I don't know.
yeah. I
Like,
mean,
it's
yeah,
still kind of
Billy-
random,
Billy needs to see that.
right? There needs to be a rape
Right.
in order for the PTSD to trigger.
And
Or-
to associate that with naughtiness.
Exactly right.
Yeah. And they never I might have tuned it out, but they never had Billy think, is Dan still there?
I am.
I think so.
I'm enjoying.
Okay.
I'm enjoying this.
They never had Billy associate his parents for being naughty. Did they?
No.
Like,
Well, he asked his mother if she was ever naughty, and she said, "Yeah, like a few times."
Okay. Because I was
Yeah.
just wondering, like, because he's associating Santa's punishments with them being naughty, and then they both get slaughtered in front of him. So, did he ever associate that with his parents being naughty?
I guess you could assume they must have been naughty.
Yeah, and
At
then
least
the stereotypical,
twice, right? Because they had 2
Yeah.
kids.
right?
Right. It's true.
Well, that's never established as naughty.
You know, it's funny.
Harry.
That's exactly what she says is twice.
Yeah,
She says, yeah, it's once or twice, or something like that.
which means 10 times.
Which means once for each of her kids.
Right. And then the whole, the stereotypical orphanage was just so offensive. It was just so. I'm like looking at this thing and I'm going, come on, like.
Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy.
And then his snapping was cool. That I don't know.
In any other context, it would have been cool.
The obnoxious coworker, like it was just so forced. And I mean the girlfriend at work, like what's her deal? Like she was flirting with both of them. She was just seeing who's gonna throw shit against the wall, see who sticks.
She was naughty. What can I say? She was.
I don't know.
She was just naughty.
Yeah, I wanted to like it. I thought it was cool that I didn't see it before either. So I was like, okay, maybe this is gonna be an interesting thing.
I'll do better next time to find one you actually enjoy. But this is a really important movie for our conversation, I think.
Okay.
So I'm glad you sat through. Now, George, I want to drop a little date on you.
Mhm.
This movie, well, it's not a date. I'm going to drop a little fact on you. This movie came out 7 months after the final chapter.
Okay.
So, like, prime Tommy Jason context.
Yes.
So you're right. It's absolutely kind of a careful what you wish for scenario, only instead of body swapping, you've got your Tommy Jason. Tommy
Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah.
And
Only he's Santa Claus.
only he's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
But now that you've seen someone try the Tommy Jason, like a literal killer made by a killer, to inherit the mantle and move forward in murderous fashion.
Yep. Does it work?
Did it work?
I think it did.
You do? Wow.
Yeah, I
Nice.
think I think it worked. I think just the context was terrible. I think that like the script was terrible.
Yeah,
There was a
lot
script?
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I love this movie.
Yeah.
of it.
I think it did work though. I was gonna say like I think that the stress of seeing it and then the PTSD, we're seeing it again and him snapping, all of that seemed like it was plausible, except the context was silly.
It never does get scary, does it? It's like it's not even trying for scary. It's just trying for like shock value and sleaze.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also taking itself too seriously.
It does, doesn't it?
Like, I'm just watching this. I'm like, this poor guy is literally trying to find his motivation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm watching him, and he's obviously like probably an acting school prodigy. And he was probably like 12, and he was accepted into some kind of acting school because he's doing things that's not necessary for this movie. Like, I'm just watching. I'm like, they call it, do your homework. Sit down and develop your character, or whatever, and figure out, what am I doing in the scene? What am I doing in the whole? What do I want? All that stuff. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, man, he is really, really trying, and it's a shame that he's not in The Godfather and he's in this, because he was not a good actor, but he obviously had either an acting coach on set or something. Maybe he was like reading books on the side or something, but you just tell. It was a shame. I felt bad for him.
This movie gave me an idea I'd never had before until this most recent viewing because of our, the extensive conversation we've had of the Tommy Jason mythos through the last few episodes. I'd never considered an alternate Friday the 13th Part 5 where a young but a little bit older than the last movie Tommy Jarvis is doing fine and he's flourishing at Forest Green when all of a sudden he gets picked to be the goalie and he's
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Downhill from there. Eject the seat.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
man.
wearing a hockey mask. Who knew? Don't ask him to play hockey.
It's actually a prequel to the Mighty Ducks. It's very confusing.
Yeah. It's very confusing. It's just
The sad part about this whole thing was I was so distraught that at the climax of the movie, the Christmas party, or the build, I guess the main climax, not his spree.
keep saying climax.
Climax.
Say it again.
His spree through the town was the climax, but the pre-climax
It's even worse.
at the Christmas party, all I kept doing was trying to find.
You're talking about the climax with
Ew, no. All I did was
No.
look for vintage toys
Which-
in the background. How
No.
sad is that?
No, seriously, which climax are you talking about? The Christmas party, meaning the morning?
After he's playing Santa Claus
Oh, the Christmas party in the store.
in his store.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Okay.
The whole time, I know what's going to happen. As soon as he put on the suit, I'm like, okay, he's going to snap.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to wipe them all out.
Mhm.
And all I could do is try to find the Star Wars toys in the background. I'm like, oh, there's Jabba the Hutt. I remember that. I remember seeing that. Nostalgia Travis was going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, there's whatever, and nothing I cared about was happening. All I did was try to find things to care about.
But hey, this movie had a little something for everybody, even nostalgia, Travis.
Yes, it did.
It did have a really fun Steve Miner type cut. You remember the hot dog cut in part 2 where they cut from the dog looking up at what you think is Jason
Yes,
and then straight
yes.
to the hot dog?
Yes.
In this one, during one of the kills, right as the woman's about to scream, it cuts to a couple of nutcrackers with their mouths open.
Yes.
I gave
Yes.
I gave a golf clap to the movie for that. I was
No,
like,
yeah.
good job,
I-
movie.
Yep.
You got me.
I noticed that too. I loved it.
I finally remembered what my imagery was for this. Like I said, I never saw this. So when I asked you what the poster was, and you said it was the Santa Claus going down the chimney holding the axe, right?
Actually, you
And
were
I-
like, is it the one with the arm coming out with the axe? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's the one.
Okay. So I remember seeing that poster and then that VHS artwork, and I wanted to see it. And then there was a Tales from the Crypt episode around that time, around 85 or 86, I can't remember. And it was Larry Drake, who was on LA Law. He played Benny. and he played this mental patient that escaped from the mental institution, and he went on a killing spree dressed as Santa. And he looked like what the guy in this movie should have looked like at the beginning. Like, he looked like a gas station worker that just found a Santa Claus suit on a corpse.
No offense to any gas station workers.
No, like he looked like he worked in a coal mine. Like, he was just like,
no offense to any coal miners.
I don't sweat it. I don't care. Coal miners look dirty. Sorry, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Anyway, he looked like a coal miner that had stolen a Santa Claus suit off of a corpse. And he's like in this person's living room, and the little girl comes down and she's like, Santa Claus? And he turns around and looks at her, and he's just like, and he's got like half his teeth are gone.
Okay.
He just looked like he was going to kill everybody. And that's what I wanted in this. And it never happened. You had this partial model playing the killer, and he was just like, he looked like, he looks like extra from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
And there was just no creepiness to it.
I thought it was a little creepy when he gave that little girl a gift. Because she wasn't naughty all year.
But that wasn't creepy because of like scary creepy. I want scary creepy.
He was just kind of.
I don't want stranger danger creepy.
Yeah, that was gross. If you want to go film school, like, visual references, that scene when he gives the girl the present, it reminded me so much of the scene in M. Have either of you seen M yet? Okay. Fritz Lang.
A long time ago. I don't even know if I
there's
watched
a
the
scene toward the beginning when, you know what? I'm not even going to talk about it. Listeners, you know the scene I'm talking about. It involves
Jordan
a knife,
watch this.
And it's at the beginning of M, and it's so scary because it's just so much more threatening than anything you'd seen to that point, and it just ratchets up the tension. That I got shades of that. Now they probably didn't do that on purpose, but that's what it. Well, that's where it took me when I was watching that scene this time.
When it happened, I thought really almost immediately I thought of the Boris Karloff Frankenstein scene with the little girl and the flower.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm waiting for the full homage to happen, and it doesn't. So I was like, okay. But they at least kind of led you there, but then nothing ever continued. So I'm assuming that is almost the same as the scene from M that you're talking about.
Not a bit. But I know what I two different. Yeah. Either way, these guys weren't trying to do either of those things. I get the impression.
No, they were just trying to cut the two sled bullies getting slaughtered.
Which was very Friday the 13th.
Oh, my goodness.
And also random.
Yeah. Like his sledding without a head. The only thing missing from that scene is Christmas Vacation reference that wouldn't have been there yet. Like, it's a shame they couldn't have waited and done the sledding reference.
You could just
where he went down the hill full speed with no head.
You could just CGI like a bright light, like a beam of light, zoom, right by him, and be like, "Oh, it's a crossover."
Or have one of them go, "Later, dudes," and I would have gotten it.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that says it all, I think. Good night.
So it cracks me up. You talk about Friday the 13th. Type kills and then it also being random with the sledders. This is, the same era as the production of Friday Part 5, the trashiest, sleaziest, most random kills filled Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on that like suddenly their standards have dropped so low. But that's like a sign of the times. Part 4 is like a critical achievement, at least as far as like this subgenre, but then Silent Night, Deadly Night is just like a harbinger of what's to come for a while before they realize they can't be scary anymore and they start getting goofy.
That's a shame.
It was a shame.
Is it though? They had to try it. They had to try it.
It had potential.
Throw a little sleaze in. If you're not scaring them anymore, give them an extra bit of sleaze. Let's see how that goes.
Money.
I don't even know if they were thinking money with this. They were probably... didn't this go, like, direct to video?
So it got a theatrical release.
Okay.
It got picketed because of the advertising offending, suburban housewives, mostly.
Right.
And then
And St.
it
Nicholas.
got pulled from the theater. pretty quick, and then had a huge return on VHS.
Okay.
So almost direct to video, but not quite. But the controversy helped get its name out there. So a movie that most people would never have heard of did get a little extra, no coverage is bad coverage kind of thing in the late 80s.
Yeah, it's
Madonna.
like if you want a book to live in infamy, ban it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
The
that.
old Madonna motto,
Yeah.
all press is good press.
Yeah, this probably would have never been as big if it just played it out through theaters. Instead, it got picketed, and there was a big fuss about it, and then they took it down, and everyone's like, "Gotta watch that."
Yeah, why did they take that down? I need to see it.
Why won't they let me see it? I've got to see it.
It's like children, you tell them they can't do something, they want to know
Exactly.
why.
Gotta watch that. Got to.
And aren't you glad you did, George?
No.
But you see where it fits into the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Am I
Definitely
glad?
fits.
I don't know. I'm neutral about it. I see why you picked it.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely almost the quintessential 80s slasher film that benefited from good slasher films,
And
basically.
it gives you a good kind of rough draft of what might have happened if we got our true Tommy Jason. Maybe we would have
Right.
been kind of left unsatisfied.
I don't know. I like this movie. I think that Tommy Jason thing would have been awesome if done by the right people. I'm just saying.
But it's not Jason. It's not Jason. I
know.
want Jason in that hockey mask. I know he's already did, but I want more Jason.
More Jason. Well, maybe the Tommy Jason and Jason fight at the end.
Ooh, the
Oh.
return of Jason to fight Tommy Jason.
We'll have have Tommy Jason be the Roy character in the next one in 6, and then have randoms go and resurrect Jason. I know George doesn't like that, but they go and they do the Frankenstein resurrection at the end or midway point of 6, and Corpse Jason fights Tommy Jason. That would be
And
kind of
Corpse
cool.
Jason wins because
Absolutely.
yeah.
But that would have
or
been awesome.
maybe Tommy Jason shows up with Ted DiBiase, and Ted DiBiase's like, Munner, this
Munner,
is my Jason. And then Paul Bearer's like, no, this is not the real Jason. And then they have a wrestling match, Jason versus, oh, no, that's The Undertaker.
Yeah.
They actually did that once. Do you know that?
I remember. Yeah.
Undertaker versus Undertaker.
Yeah.
The Underfaker. Fantastic.
But when you're 12, it's awesome.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
a big fan. The tombstone reversed into
Mm.
the tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
The standing 69 from hell. Pretty good. Pretty good.
That would have been a kill in this movie. The reverse 69.
I'm surprised it wasn't, honestly. This movie's
Yeah.
pretty gross.
Now, how early in Quigley's career is this movie? Is this like one of her first movies?
Well, I am not exactly a biographer of Miss Quigley.
Okay.
I only know her from, originally I only knew her from this movie in Graduation Day. And then, of course,
Right.
you start seeing, oh, she was in that. Oh, she was in Return.
Yeah.
Oh, she was here. Oh, I mean,
Night,
she's
Night of the Demons and
all
and,
over the place
like,
in the 80s. But
she's
she's been
everywhere.
acting since 75, so
Right. Okay.
she's been around.
I didn't even know who she was, but because I was involved in garage kits and model kits. She used to be at all the cons I used to go to. All the Scream Queens would be signing 8x10s upstairs. And I met her once, and I was like, okay, I have no idea who you are. And then I found out who she was. She was the one zombie in Return of the Living Dead.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't at her.
No, you can add her. She's
'Cause
awesome.
you know who she is now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm talking about back in 1990.
Oh,
I didn't know who
okay.
she was.
So this was in the
I
time.
met her back then. Yeah. I know who she is now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I saw her at Chiller Theater in New Jersey, up in Secaucus. Another geography for you.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you.
Now, where on the Mailman is Secaucus?
That is up near the back of the head, the crook of the neck.
Back in the old
Yeah, up near Manhattan.
the Lincoln spot.
Yeah, I don't know
Right-
if you
right in
ever
the Lincoln
want to
spot.
see caucus near the crink of your neck, but I mean,
That might be in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.
Oh, you guys are in for a treat for that one because it is.
Speaking of which,
Is there
really
a dildo kill in this
good.
movie?
Hey, so before we talk about any potential sequels to this wonderful film, there's something I needed to bring up, plot-wise, that is just. It is a missed opportunity, but it's also ripe for a remake. So, copyright remedial film class. We're going to talk about the little girl and what a missed opportunity it is for her to take up the mantle of Crazy Santa.
Yeah.
I mean, she's given the gift, man. She could get out there and
She didn't actually witness the killings, though, but she probably found
Well,
what's her name hanging from the deer.
She
neither
definitely
did the
did.
little
Yeah.
brother. He's a baby, but in the next movie, he's
Yeah.
going to tell you all about how it went down.
Okay.
Very confusing because he's a literal infant at the time of the crime.
he's a
Yeah, he's
literal
like the
infant.
crying baby in the car.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my
But
god.
he remembers it.
Naughty.
dramatic. They say, do you remember it, or do you think you remember it because you've seen pictures?
And because your
Maybe-
brother told you about it every day.
yeah, maybe his
at
brother
the,
told him about it every day.
orphanage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably the only conversation they had.
That poor kid. You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Never once
That's
did I
tough.
actually think, oh, that poor kid during this whole movie. They do such a bad job of building empathy, even though they show you everything that happened. Never once do I feel empathy for that kid. It's very weird. I think it's just a failure on the director's part.
Yeah. If he was handled kind of like a newt in Aliens, where within 4 minutes you already feel bad for this kid,
Right.
Hmm.
it's just bad directing.
That grandpa is super creepy, though.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh.
I don't know why they left a kid with with a man in an insane asylum alone. And did anybody notice the car? I think after the police, I don't know, they show an exterior with a truck parked out front. It looked exactly like the truck from Pizza Planet,
Oh.
Oh, that's too funny.
minus the rocket. I was like, wait, what? It was exactly the same truck that the delivery guy in Toy Story
It
drives.
was a Toyota with.
Yeah, it was like a
with just
Toyota with
said
a cap,
yo.
and it had a
Just said
cap.
yo
Didn't
in
say
the
yeah.
back.
You can see the back. It probably did say yo, but it was the same exact truck. I was like, man, that's hilarious.
I mean, obviously, that's where they got the idea in Toy Story, right? They were reaching back to.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Holy
They
moly. Now, last thing before we move on from what is definitely my favorite Christmas movie. I mean, sorry, Home Alone, Die Hard, and, Wonderful Life. No. Silent Night, Deadly Night just really brings home the Christmas cheer in our household.
Hmm.
Mm. Ours is Gremlins.
Did you notice any of the Christmas music, George? Were you were your ears on for any of those tunes playing in the background, especially like at the Christmas party?
Yeah, they were just kind of random,
Well,
and then like made up for this movie. I think.
exactly. There is an entire soundtrack for this movie, all original Christmas songs. And I'm here to tell you, man, they're actually kind of good. If you sit down and listen to them.
Travis is just shaking his head, going, "No, no."
The song "Warm Side of the Door." There's always
So they
it's
put more.
good.
They put more thought into the music than
Yes.
the actual friggin' movie.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yes. Much more work into the music than any other element of this movie, and we thank them for it.
Wow. You are a fan.
I love
it.
the songs, man. Warm Side of the Door is one of the ones I listen to every Christmas. So thank you to this movie for giving my family Christmas music.
Well, I thank them for giving me nightmares after that nun was being railed by a guy. Yeah, I don't need to
Was
see
that
that.
a nun?
Yeah, it was one of the nuns.
Okay, I wasn't sure. It was
Isn't
just
it the
like
one
some
that
random...
finds him at the end of the movie or tracks him down?
No, I don't.
Dan, was she a nun out of habit, or was she just a random chick?
She was one of the nuns, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But she wasn't the nun that was tracking.
She
him
wasn't the one
down.
that led him. No, I thought she was the nun that was at the end of the movie, or the climax of the movie. I just gave George a nod when I said it.
Oh no.
Which nun?
The one that gets the phone call or makes the phone call, and they're like, "Oh, he's," and then she finally goes, and that's when she finds the people dead at the party.
She Dr. Loomis is the thing.
She's
No,
like the Dr. Loomis chick.
No, she can't be. That can't be her in the bed with that guy.
She is a nun
Because-
from that era, but she's not the one that's screwing around.
Okay.
Right. No, because that nun told Billy, hey, you should come outside and
That was
play
a
with-"
different nun, wasn't it? Go back.
Are you trying to tell me
I
that
don't-
all nuns
don't make
look
me
the
rewatch
same?
this.
Travis, is that what you're trying
What's
to say?
that?
All nuns look the same to you? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
that is kind of a problem here. They all they look very similar. They're very hard to tell apart. That is a problem here.
Holy mackerel!
I'm a nunist. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I don't want to put a label on it, man.
Yeah. It sounds like it.
He's
You nunist.
no offense to any nuns that are
Yeah,
listening.
any nuns that look alike. Any twin nuns.
One British,
Twin
one
nuns.
American.
Any part 3 nuns or part 4 nuns.
Love it. One British, one American. Twins.
Both
nuns.
nuns
Just-
can't tell.
Just
the
chew your
difference.
gum. Just chew your gum.
Jeez Louise. So, how dark-hearted is this movie to show a Santa Claus get gunned down in front of children, and it's not even the killer?
Right.
Also,
I
that's a
knew
priest dressed up as Santa Claus, gunned down in front of children.
a deaf priest.
A deaf priest. This movie is mean, and not necessarily like accomplished at being mean.
The
It's just
ACLU should be all over this shit.
trying really hard to be mean.
Yeah.
So much discrimination going on.
All right, George, give me your final. What do you think? Is this a successful? Are you gonna watch this one next Christmas?
Is it as good as
No.
Psycho?
No.
Is this satire?
Is this satire?
I
I
think
actually
so.
asked myself that.
I think so.
Wow.
No, I don't think they meant it to be satire,
No.
but it certainly is.
It's certainly indicative of like an industry out of control.
Yeah.
Now, in that light, let's say someone like Simon Pegg and his friends did an homage to slasher films, and this was it, but with better writing.
You could
It
make
would
this
be
hilarious.
phenomenal. It would be phenomenal.
Yeah, because it's an homage.
It
It's-
would be an homage. It
yeah.
would be a parody. It would be satire, and it would have been written well.
Yeah.
And I would have watched it 8 times today.
Yeah.
But then this.
Not that bad.
It's pretty bad.
It was bad, but it's whatever.
But it was good bad. It was 80s bad.
Well, if you thought that this movie was good, or if you thought that this movie was bad, really, either way, I think you're really going to enjoy what they did with the sequel. So, let's talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 2.
Dear.
Part Duty is what it ought to be
Part
called.
Part number 2.
Part yeah, part number 2. That's right. So hop over to Amazon Prime, George.
Now, do I need the backstory?
So it's basically the interrogation of Ricky,
Brother.
and a lot of if you wanted more backstory, it's all of Ricky's backstory. So the first 40 minutes of this movie are essentially part 1. Again, shorter. Now, part of the reason for this is with the movie being pulled out of theaters, they felt like they had license to reuse all the best parts of the first movie again just to try to milk some more money out of the audience because nobody
Okay.
saw it in theaters. Also, for the 5 people that needed 40 minutes of backstory, here you go.
Travis.
I don't need the backstory of this
But
kid. I need the
interspliced
backstory
with
of
the
Santa Claus.
backstory is some of the worst acting I've ever seen from a living human being.
Wow, he's bad.
He's the worst actor we've seen yet.
Oof.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, it's almost unwatchable garbage. But for some reason, it's like oddly compelling, you know? And it's such a distinct difference between the actual actor recording him and whatever is happening with the guy that plays Ricky. It's like performance art, but unintentional.
I think the baby might have been a better actor
Certainly more in the
than
moment.
grown up. Yeah.
So, just to tell you, I mean, for real, skip to 39 minutes and 20 seconds and get through all that backstory. You already saw part 1.
Is Miggs in this?
Hey, Meg, you want to see a Catholic movie?
Multiple Miggs.
There's nuns having sex in it.
Not with each other, though. That's a different
Not with
genre.
each other,
Not
no.
with each other.
Yeah, that's a different genre.
They're not practicing. This movie only has a little bit of heresy in it.
Did you say just a tit?
Just
Oh, okay.
never
Okay.
say
Just
it.
a minute or two. Just get a real sense for where this movie goes as the flashback wraps up, and they get to a different set of flashbacks.
Okay.
Do they have a Scooby-Doo ending?
So basically, he switches from flashbacks from the first movie to flashbacks of his own life,
Right.
which makes sense because he was an infant for a majority of the original flashbacks, or like a 3-year-old
Right.
kid. So the performance, breathtaking.
Do they do the eyebrows know that they're on their own on their own in this? Like he's acting and they're acting.
It's just like the Ninja Turtles. They have like 3
Yeah.
guys off camera operating the eyebrows.
the animatronic eyebrows. Oh, you need to be shocked. Bing.
Around the 49-minute mark, he saves a random woman from a random sexual assault by running the guy over with a Jeep. So you might see a guy... Yeah, you might see a guy under a Jeep. But if
What's the timestamp?
49.50.
49.
Okay. Who's this blonde chick that looks like Pamela Voorhees?
I think that's the adopted mother.
Are you
Okay.
sure he doesn't shoot him in the crotch through her dress?
Oh, somebody died.
Kind of cool.
They're at a funeral. Somebody died. So I'm at 45 minutes, right?
49 minutes.
49.
49,
Okay.
Does he always carry a screwdriver to a funeral? You're going to make me have to watch this movie, aren't you?
It's not a yeah, it's the
No,
worst movie
no,
I've
it is.
seen in a
It's
while,
bad.
but it's watchable. It's the kind of thing you should watch with a bunch of friends.
Yeah. As a drinking game?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll be right back. Another guy's playing him? Why didn't he get the same guy?
I know.
Oh, twitchy hand.
Yeah,
He
that's
waved to me.
that's the guy, the guy that got run over.
It's a nice Jeep.
He
When was
dragged
this? Like 93?
I want to say it's like 87.
Yeah, it's 87.
That's square lights on a Jeep. That's what I was asking. There's a period where the lights were... the Jurassic Park one was square lights.
The Remedial Jeep Class Podcast.
Hey, you guys got your guitars. I have my Jeeps. Wow, he's awfully close to the doctor.
Red car, good point. What the fuck?
Did this have a script or?
I
no?
don't know.
I feel really bad for this doctor.
He's actually kind of acting.
Yeah,
They
he looks
couldn't
like
have been
he's
in the
really
same
trying.
room
No,
for a lot of this. They had to be not operating off each other, because how could you keep a straight face with
I'm sure he called his agent every night and said, "Dude, really, I have to do this.
take my
this
name
guy.
off this cast."
Can I be John Doe in this?
Oh
Because
my gosh.
seriously,
Alan
Damn.
Smithy, starring.
Alan Smithy.
I mean, there's only really one other scene that you absolutely have to see. If you want to, though, just unnecessary violence. You should skip to 53 minutes.
We're almost there.
It's not worth seeing the 2 minutes in between.
Mm.
But he happened to cross somebody at his job, which he got, shaking somebody down for money, and he takes him out at the 53-minute mark in what could be described as a Burgess Meredith type kill.
Is it with an umbrella?
Well, you'll just have to wait and see.
Oh snap! There it is. This is right out of Clockwork Orange. If ever there's a movie where the killer should have a mask on so we don't have to see his face, it's this guy. Oh, nice. I'll take that. That's a good one.
Fun. I mean, it's not
fun.
good.
There should be a little bit more shrapnel on there, but yeah, a little bit more guts.
So there's some
I like it.
hanky-panky. He gets his motorcycle backed into by a leggy blonde, and of course they hook up right away. So if you want to see
So-
that, it's like the 58-minute mark, but you can skip that.
Yo, it's raining. That's funny.
I mean,
It
it's
started raining. Like,
keeping
who
him-
needs an umbrella?
keeping him
It started
safe
raining
from the
on
rain,
the umbrella.
yeah.
It's great.
It's a good movie, guys.
That might be the best thing in the script.
So skip to the hour, 5 minute, and 20-second or so mark. He's walking with his new girlfriend, who is played by the actress from Part 7. who had her kill redone because it didn't look good the first time, so they threw her out of a
Okay.
window. Same actress.
She's blonde now.
This movie has no idea how electricity works. But you need to hear this dialogue from the douchey guy in the sweater, because it's a prototypical version of something that we've talked about before.
Well, they both went to the Gap or Old Navy and got their sweaters.
There's your that's what she said. Just a bit
Yeah.
more on the nose and a little filthier. So a distant cousin of Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Right after that, the movie decides that electricity. I'll let George correct me, but I don't think they understand how electricity works.
Wow. They spent a lot of money on the head.
Notice he never lets go of his throat.
Yeah. Why isn't he getting zolts? Maybe he's immortal Jason.
Because he's immune to it.
I'll tell you what. I have to tell you. That head
It was a pretty good
is
head.
way better than anything else that I've seen in this movie. Nice. Not realistic, but nice. I like it. Did he just say punish?
He's got to keep it on brand, Travis.
He's cross-eyed. Oh my God, he is so bad. Dan, you know what would have made this scene epic?
What's that?
If the cop was played by Clint Howard.
Oh. It's a prequel to Ice Cream Man? Is that what we're doing?
Oh my God, it would have been great if it was Clint Howard. Oh my God, this guy. Did this guy ever make anything else?
The main actor guy shows up in another
Yeah.
movie with Quigley, actually.
Oh my God.
Murder
he
Weapon,
got work?
I think is the one. One of those Vinegar
Nice.
Syndrome type movies for people that like silly
That was
movies.
actually a pretty realistic
Yeah.
exit wound.
That was my football number.
S-
I'm very
splatting
sad
on
about
the-
this. I took that personally.
He's got 4 left.
Just wait, guys. It's almost garbage day.
Oh, there's the palm trees from the background of Halloween.
Yep. Oh my God.
Oh my God. That was terrible.
I think you mean that was perfect.
Does any of this take place on Christmas?
There's one point at the beginning of the movie when it's like down at the bottom in text, December 24th.
Oh God.
Because, yeah, no, it doesn't. It's just...
Wait.
His car exploded.
How does a car...
He shot it in the radiator, so it exploded.
Look at him all hulked out like he's like trying to be bigger than he is.
He's pretty. I mean, he's a built dude. I think that's
He's
how
walking with-
he got the job. Was he's
Yeah. He's walking with his lats out.
80s in shape.
I'm really glad that I was counting.
Click.
They do a better job. Well, you haven't. Never mind. George hasn't seen that movie yet.
Right. There goes them eyebrows again. His eyebrows are acting their asses off.
Yeah, they are.
Look at him.
It made it really hard to cash his paycheck, but the bank eventually let him. They're like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, it's written out to your eyebrows.
Oh my
but-
God. The eyebrows. Jesus Christ.
He's acting to the guys in the back of the room.
How'd he get a cigarette?
Oh my God. So I'm going to tell you here, go ahead and just pull the plug on this movie. There's 15 minutes
Oh
left.
no. How did he kill this guy?
I mean, dudes,
Did he even explain it?
sometimes it's better not to ask. No, save
Wait.
that for next year when you do your double feature of
He
Silent
choked
Night,
him with
Deadly Night,
magnetic tape.
and Part 2. He choked him with his own words, man.
Yeah, but isn't there usually somebody watching? It's a police station.
Are you telling me that you don't think that the technical advisor on this movie was that familiar with police procedure?
Well, he should have been at least familiar with the fact that the magnetic tape wasn't strong enough to strangle somebody. I gotta call the town and let them know who I just let out of here last night.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're done here.
I think we're good. So
We're good.
I don't know that I've seen a stranger attempt at a sequel than this sequel. To recycle so much of your movie, drag it out to 40 minutes, and then begin the flashbacks in earnest for your main character for, what was that, another 25 minutes before they
Mhm.
actually did anything in real time, and then you have one little chase at the end with the Mother Superior type character. But, like, this was a misguided effort, boys.
Yeah, I would put it up there with the Heretic, Exorcist 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
totally. Man.
I mean, the Heretic didn't have Garbage Day.
The whole movie was garbage day.
Oh, golly.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts, George? Are you happy with me? Are you mad at me? Are you sad
Ye-
at me?
Yeah, he's happy he just watched that movie in 20 minutes.
And it was free on Prime.
It was free.
If any skin was touching the ground of the car, that would work. Except if your skin was touching the skin that was touching the ground of the car, it would also be shocked.
Mm.
So either neither of them would go or both of them would go.
Absolutely.
What they needed was the Friday 13th puddle for him to be standing in.
Ooh, reference puddle.
Reference puddle would have helped.
I think a reference puddle always helps.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of reference and not really puddles at all, but references.
Oh, can we do that part over where you ask me about my final thoughts? Because that wasn't actually my final thoughts.
Hey, George. Tell me your final thoughts.
I don't have any.
Okay. Crickets from
Good
George.
one. Good
But
one.
these movies turned my brain to mush,
Yeah.
and so all my thoughts are, yeah,
These are not part of the curriculum, by the way.
yeah.
This was just for fun.
This was for fun.
I do hope that Elves is out on Blu-ray by the time we do next Christmas, so you can
Or
really
Ghoulies.
see what a Christmas slasher movie should look like.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, I would put Gremlins way above this as a scary Christmas movie.
But that could actually
Definitely.
be on the curriculum, so
Yeah.
we
Well,
gotta-
he's seen that.
every
You've
now
seen
and then he
Gremlins.
needs a dumb movie.
No?
I think I've seen. Yeah, I've seen Gremlins.
Okay.
Yeah.
George, we took a slight detour here. It was topical, more referencing our fall break material than our actual curriculum material, but I'm glad we looked at it for the holiday season. Sorry your brain turned to mush, but that's the chance you take with an 80s slasher movie with a Santa Claus and an axe.
Yeah.
So
The
don't think
poster was cool.
we didn't mean to punish you,
Right.
Mm.
but I mean that's what you get for being so naughty. Now remember, coming up next week, don't miss Garbage Day.
Garbage Day.
I mean, really, those 3 moments are all you need. That's the
Is
whole.
it 7:00 yet?
Lock the door, get the drinks.
So Travis, tell
Yes.
George what we're doing in week 2 of season 2 of the actual Remedial Film Class podcast.
We are going to venture down a road and watch Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. No, I'm kidding.
hey,
Nice.
Travis.
I thought you were gonna say "Stand by Me" again.
Travis, I think a friend of ours just got there. Maybe he should
Okay.
tell George.
Yes.
So, what we're going to watch is a movie that was so awesome that it got nominated for Oscars, but it's a horror movie.
Hey, Bill,
So-
how far would you go with this movie?
I would give it a 14. Definitely give it a 14. They're not any closer to catching them. I know that.
Yeah. So we're
Love
going
it.
to watch one of the greatest movies ever made. I don't care about if I'm spoiling it.
No, it's real good. It's damn good.
Yes. Silence, or is it The Silence of the Lambs?
All right.
Yes. We'll get you back on track with some top-notch horror
I'm excited.
killers.
I'm excited. This is one that I kind of know a little bit about, obviously, but I haven't actually watched it all the way through.
Mhm.
Obviously, I have to have some idea what goes on in that movie, but
Yeah, and you're going to watch it with a kind of a trained eye now, which is kind of good.
yeah,
You're going to see the references. You're going to see
I'm excited.
why it's awesome. And I think that's kind of the point. Like if we would have shown this to you before any of the other movies, like you said, you think you saw parts. It's going to really you're going to be watching it with a trained eye, which is good. And that's
Yeah.
the way you want to watch it.
Yeah.
This is definitely
Do you
one
agree, Dan?
you should watch with the lights off, George.
Yes.
Okay. I'm excited. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Yay!
I want to watch it again. So, yes.
All right, thanks for joining us on the Remedial Film Class Podcast Holiday Special. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Remedial Film Pod. You can find us at facebook.com/remedialfilmpod. You can email us, remedialfilmpod@gmail.com. And now you can connect with us at the Remedial Film Class Podcast Extracurricular Discussion Group on Facebook. And then we'll see you back here next week for The Silence of the Lambs. Can't wait, guys. We'll see you then.